our St Andrews. It's Mrs Nicholas here for a very, very exciting assembly this morning. So it's a slightly different Reach assembly because you've got me rather than the lovely Mrs Harrod. So just to go through our Reach curriculum, I know you are amazing at remembering all of these, but we have our R, which stands for respect, E for engaged, A for ambitious, C for confident, and H for happy and healthy. Now, the assembly that I'm going to be doing today is based around that confidence. I know Mrs Harrod talked a little bit about this last week, so what I would like you to just have a little think about now in your classes, and your teacher might pause it for you to talk to the person next to you, is what does it mean to be confident, and what might that look like? So if you think someone is confident, what things might you see? So you might be thinking about their voice, you might be thinking about their body language, you might be thinking about what they say or what they do. So I'd like to just pause now, maybe have 1 minute, chat with your partner about what you think that might look like. Be interesting to see after you've had those discussions what that looks like then. Now I've got a challenge. So my assembly this morning is going to be linked with confidence as part of our Reach curriculum, but it's also going to be about the 4 purposes. Now, I know you're really good at remembering the 4 purposes in your class. I know your teachers talk about this a lot as part of your learning, and that you talk about it as part of your learning in class as well. So I'm going to give you a minute to pause the video and to have a little think. What are our 4 purposes? And I've given you a bit of a clue, and I've given you the starting letter for each of the words as part of our 4 purposes. So your teachers will pause now for you to go through and see how many you can remember. I wonder if you will be able to get all 8 in your classes, which would be amazing if you could. We shall see. I wonder if you got them all correct. So we've got ambitious, capable, ethical, informed, creative, enterprising, healthy, and confidence. We have our 8 words, which fits underneath our 4 purposes. And often you'll hear these words that come in pairs. They might not always, or sometimes they might swap around as part of those pairs, but often it helps us to remember if they're in those pairs, might make us remember them a little bit better. So I'd like you to have a little bit of a think now, and again, your teachers might decide to pause the video for you to have a bit of a discussion. What do you think it looks like if you are an ambitious, capable learner? Have a little think. What would that look like? What that might sound like? What might you hear someone saying if they're showing that they're an ambitious, capable learner? I wonder what ideas you came up with in your class about what an ambitious, capable learner might look like. So it might be someone that enjoys solving challenges. It might be someone that develops strategies to help them overcome a challenge or a problem that they might have been set. It's about setting their own targets and thinking about what they need to do to improve further. Fingers crossed you came up with some of those. Let's have a look at the next one then. So I would like you to do the same with this one now. So I'd like you to have a little bit of a think about what an ethical, informed citizen. This one's a bit trickier. The words are a little bit longer and a little bit more complicated. But I'd like you to have a think now about what an ethical, informed citizen might look like. What might they do? What might they say? What might they be able to talk about? So your teachers will pause the video now for you to have a little discussion in class about what an ethical, informed citizen would be. I wonder what types of things you came up with this. And as I said, the words ethical and informed are quite tricky words. And ethical informed citizen is starting to think about making choices based on information that you have been given. So if you're informed about something and you need to make a choice, you find out lots of bits of information to help you make that choice. Okay. It might also be about managing risk and thinking about things that you might need to do to help you avoid that risk or to minimize that risk. And with our ethical part of it, it's about understanding that not everyone is the same in our world. We're really special, we're really unique, and that's what makes our school and our world so special, that everyone's got different qualities and different differences. And being ethical is understanding that everyone is slightly different. Everyone maybe has different religions or different cultures or comes from different parts of the world. And it's about learning about all of those different cultures and those different countries and about how that makes our world so special. Let's have a look at the next one. So we've got creative enterprise and systems. So same thing, I bet you've guessed now. Your teachers are going to pause the video for you to have a bit of a discussion again about what it looks like to be a creative enterprise and system here at St Andrews. Hopefully you've managed to have a really good discussion in your classes now about what that looks like. So if you are creative, we're thinking about at AOLE about expressive art, so thinking about how you might express your emotions or ideas in different ways, and thinking about that might be digitally, so using a digital platform, it might be using an iPad or a Chromebook, it might be using paint or collage or watercolours. It's just about having that creativeness and thinking about how you can present to someone, might be an audience, about something that you're interested with, or maybe an emotion or a piece of work that you are doing. And then enterprise. Now, year 5, we should be good at this because we did our Dragon's Den a few weeks ago where we were enterprising. If you're enterprising, again, it's identifying maybe a problem and it's thinking about ways that you can overcome that problem. So when we were in our Dragon's Den presentations to Mrs. Giles a few weeks ago, we had to come up with a new bin because we looked at the local area and we thought, oh my goodness, there's lots of litter. So we had to design a bin that we thought would be useful or helpful to encourage people not to drop litter and to put rubbish in the bin. And I know Mrs. Giles was blown away by the different entries that they came up with. So again, they had to be enterprising. They had to think about the problem they'd been set. There was lots of litter being dropped around the Connect Centre and around St Andrews, and they had to think about how they would overcome that problem by designing a bin that would encourage people to stop that litter, to put it in the bin. Now, the reason why I'm talking about this today and our 4 purposes, and we've linking it then with our Reach curriculum with being confident, is I'm going to set you 2 tasks that you're going to do in your classes over the next few weeks with your grown-ups in your classroom, and it's linked to your reports that we send home to your parents and carers at the end of the year. So that's the really special report that talks about everything that we've done at St Andrews from September all the way through until the end of the year. And I know that your grown-ups love reading about all of the amazing things that you've done in school. And I know last year we changed it because usually the teachers used to write all of the wonderful things you've done. And we thought actually now is a perfect opportunity for you as the children of St Andrews to think about what you think that you've done particularly well this year. So as I said, there's 2 tasks which I'm going to talk through now. The first one, and your teachers will be able to talk to this in a little bit more detail with you, is you're going to look through all of your books that you have in your classroom and you're going to choose your favourite piece of work. And once you've chosen your favourite piece of work, you're going to have a little think about these questions. So you're going to think, why is it your favourite piece of work? Why have you chosen that one? What are you most proud of about that piece of work? Which is why you've chosen it out of all of the other pieces of work. And the second question you're going to have a think about is, what skills did you use for it to be a success? So it depends whether you might have chosen a maths piece of work, or it might be a writing piece of work, or it might be a reading piece of work. But I'd like you to have a think about, what skills did you use for it to be a success? So thinking about being confident and overcoming that challenge as being a part of our ambitious, capable learners. What skills did you have to apply or develop or use for it to be a success? So that's your first task that your grown-ups are going to be asking you to do over the next few weeks. And then your second task is this one. Mrs. Nicholas has just moved the slide across. So this one is a bit trickier, and it might look slightly different depending on which year group you are in. But I'd like you to be thinking about these questions, and your teachers might ask them to you and you might talk about them, or you might decide to write them down, but your teacher, as I said, will give you a bit more guidance on what this looks like. So what I would like you to do is to think about these questions. So you need to be thinking about, what progress have you made this year? So what things do you think you've done really well at developing from the beginning of the year compared to now? So again, when you look through your books, you might think, oh my goodness, I'm so much better at using adjectives in my writing, or I'm so much better at starting a sentence with a capital letter, or I'm so much better at knowing my number bonds to 10, or I'm so much better at knowing my times tables. Okay, you can talk about more than one thing you're proud of. That's absolutely fine. Let's think about the progress, what improvements you have made in your learning. The second question I'd like you to have a think about is, what skills have you developed that you're especially proud of? So again, it might be something in maths that you're particularly proud of, that you've really persevered and you've really worked hard to achieve. It might be something in writing. It might be something in expressive arts. It might be something in science as part of our STEM. It could be something in games and PE as part of our health and well-being. So it's skills that you think you've developed that you're especially proud of. And again, it might be more than one thing, and that's absolutely fine for you to include more than one thing. This question is a bit tricky then. So how did you make this progress? So what things did you have to do to help you make that progress? If you think about that target that you might have set yourself, what small stepping stones did you have to do to make sure that you achieved that goal? And again, it goes back to that confidence, isn't it? Identifying those small steps to help you reach that bigger problem or that bigger target that you've been aiming for all year. I then would like you to have a bit of a think about what you'd like to get better at next year. So is there anything you think, oh my goodness, when I move into year one, or when I move into year three, or when I move into year six, this is what I really want to set myself as a target to get better at for next year. And then the last one, and I know you're going to be amazing at this because we talk about it all the time at St Andrews, is how you think you've demonstrated the 4 purposes. So again, you might have your books and you might be flicking through your books and you might have a look at thinking, oh my goodness, in this lesson, I really showed that I was a healthy, confident individual because I might have talked about how my lifestyle choices are healthy ones. So I'm making sure that I'm eating enough fruit and vegetables, that I'm going to sleep and having enough sleep at night, and I'm making sure that I'm not spending too much time on game consoles. It might be that you've shown that you're an ethically informed citizen because you might have learned about, so I know year 6 have been learning about Nepal at the start of the year, so you might think, oh my goodness, I've learned lots and lots and lots of things about Nepal, and now I've got a much better understanding on what their life is like in Nepal. It might be, if you're thinking about an ambitious, capable learner, that you've really persevered this year with a particular target that you've set yourself, and you really think, do you know what? Even when I was finding it hard, I didn't give up. I stuck at it and I made sure I achieved it. So again, it's thinking about how you've achieved or demonstrated those 4 purposes. And again, you might decide to choose more than one. You might have 3 or 4 that you think you've demonstrated throughout the year, and that would be amazing. I know your grown-ups would love hearing or reading, depending on if you're going to talk about it or if you're going to write it down. And then especially then, your teachers will be super proud, but your grown-ups at home are going to be reading these and hearing these as well. And again, finding out exactly what happens here at St Andrews, because I know we share it on CISA, I know we share it on Twitter, but actually hearing their children talk about what's happening in school and what they're most proud of, I think would make them really proud as well. Now we're going to finish off with a little video called Scarlett, and it's one of my favourite videos. It's a little bit sad in the middle, but it's a lovely little video. And again, it talks about having that confidence, having that ambition to really persevere, to fulfill your potential and to succeed in achieving your dreams. So have a lovely Monday. Enjoy the rest of your week. Fingers crossed the sun will be back this week like it was last week, and it will stay now ready for summer. I will hopefully see you around the Connect or St Andrews building very soon, and have a wonderful week. Ta bochi.